Getting ready to start the first men's match, and Earl Weatherford will be leading off. He has just moved up to the number 2 spot because Dallas Creech is having some back problems, and Earl starts off with a big one. He was on the first week of the program, and he was our men's champion the first week. He beat Larry Sidner in the finals, 214 to 204. And that's right, we got to watch his wife bowl in the first match today, Glenna. Now here's Larry Miller. Got him out of bed to come out here.
He reminds me of Smokey Burgess. They say you could get him out in the middle of the winter and get a base hit. He pounded that one solid in the hole.
Replacement first name. Larry Miller.
And he's going cross lane.
He doesn't seem intimidated at all, rolling out of bed.
Of course, did you hear the background? It says, "You won it up here, Larry. Now you're here. Let's see what you can do."
No pressure.
No pressure.
Just you better win. Larry's a 11 handicap. And there's an 8 count. Larry on the year is averaging 186.
And he's got a tough little spare here. Cross it, get it through the lane, and catch a little bit of the 2-pin and a whole bunch of the 5.
Caught a little bit of the 2, and the 2 caught a lot of the 5. I guess that's what you were talking about, Eddie. Let's see Earl, our first week's champion.
You know, last week Earl was here, and we in the morning signed off, and they started the qualifying rounds up on the second floor here, and he was chomping at the bit as I'm going to be on the show.
That's right. He goes, "I'll see you next week."
And he just come up at the line just a little bit. Earl is one of those young fellas that come up and bite you because they just crank the ball out there somewhere to the right and let it run. I said, this is an unusual setup, and here we got it again, the 6-9.
No problem for Earl. So Larry +9 heading into the third frame. Earl's 32 years of age. He's from Florence, Kentucky. And he's our athlete. He likes them all. Softball, racquetball, pool. And kind of an interesting note, he used to play professional slow pitch softball with the Pittsburgh Hard Hats.
And the freight train was a little short getting there. He got inside his mark just a little bit. You know, they run a TGIF day over here, Nick, and thank goodness it's Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and you can practice for only 50 cents a game. Look out.
Oh, yes. Earl Weatherford. Beautiful shot. That's the first split with any degree of difficulty we've seen made, Eddie, I believe.
That was a super shot. And if he didn't make that spare, it takes a double to pick it up. And now if he gets a double, he's in plus.
Well, Larry Miller shows no sympathy at all. He just bangs one home.
And again, no full rollers today. He's standing all the way at the back of the approach and taking a 4-step approach and a real long slide.
And a lot of pin action there. Once again, Larry got on the program because Dallas Creech hurt his back. And it's kind of unfortunate to Dallas because he had a super qualifying round. Rolled a 665. But here's Larry, not feeling sorry for anyone, picks up the spare.
You know, they got a daybreak special over here at the Super Bowl. You know that? You can bowl Monday through Thursday
that.
from noon to 5 p.m. with 3 games costing only $1.99. Now that's where you got to come in and get your practice.
I'll be here. Now that I got my bowling tips last week. Here's Earl the poor Earl Weatherford, and the two shaking but not breaking.
He just got that one just a little bit wide. You notice he's switching balls. He's going to a little softer ball to run it across. And on it. You know, it's nice to have 2 bowling balls or 3 bowling balls.
Earl walked in with 4.
He walked in with 4, but you know, the real trick is to know which one to pick up and bowl with. Which one suits the condition, and now he's just moved to his 3rd bowling ball. He's making adjustments instead of, you know, with his approach or with his speed or anything, he's making it with the ball.
Earl's shaking his head a little unhappy with himself.
Into a harder ball, so the ball won't hook away from the spare.
I guess you can compare bowling with golf. The 3 iron's not working, go to the 4. And there's the spare, so we're halfway through our first men's match, and the winner will move on to meet Roger Crawford. And we'll be back with the conclusion of match 1 right after this. Here's Larry Miller, who's holding right now a 13-pin lead over Earl Weatherford. Let's see if he can do anything about that. He slipped a little bit, but that makes no difference in this ball game. Not when you throw a ball like that.
And I think, remember when I was talking to you about the approach, you got to go slow? If you notice, he's taking a 4-step approach back here from the 16-foot mark. All the way back at the back end. And he makes one giant slide.
Larry also from Florence, Kentucky. Wonder if he knew Earl before this meeting.
I'm sure they bowled against each other here, that's for sure. And he's positioning himself half left. Almost throwing it like he did a strike ball.
And he picks it up. So it's time for Earl Weatherford to string a couple together. His mother has been on the program, and the first week she was the runner-up, and week number 3 she was the victor. So the Weatherford family, not strange to our telecast.
And Earl is shaking his head. He's switched equipment out there about 4 times already, and trying to figure out what ball is going to catch the proper roll. And he's staying with the blue ball, cross lane.
During our commercial break, Earl had the blue ball in his hands, and it looked like he was fixing up the thumb hole a little bit and wiping it off.
I once watched Steve Fair bowl 300. He put a piece of tape after each one in the 10th frame. Kept making a fine adjustment, and finished with 3 in the 10th for 300.
And there's a strike ball. Earl's shaking his head, but he'll take it, I'm sure.
If you remember, in one of the tips I was giving you about how to find a proper position for your starting position from the foul line walking back this way, well, these 2 gentlemen here are taking a 4-step approach from the 16-foot mark. And you know that they have got to be running to get there. And sheer power.
That holds Larry Miller plus 15 heading into the 8th frame. And Larry throws a rocket. He rolls like Robert Weibel. You remember him?
Oh boy, yeah.
He was our sprint bowler, but it was effective. He holds a 180 average out here at the Super Bowl.
You notice every shot that he's thrown here on the left lane, he's been just a little bit high, and he's going to have to make an adjustment with his feet. He's going to have to move to his left. And I have to move to his left and pick up what we call the track late. Okay, cross lane, square to his target.
Hang on. And there's not much room over to the right of the 6 pin, but he missed it. So that opens up the gate for Earl Weatherford, who's minus 15. Let's see if he can take advantage of it.
And here he comes.
Yes!
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That's not the typical Earl strike ball, but just like the last one, mark it down.
Well, that's really the shot that he likes to go for, Nick. With the type of ball that he throws, with all the revs on the back end, it's the one that he wants to get. Just a little too inside. He's made all the adjustments now with his equipment. Now he has to make an adjustment out to running lane.
Well, if he can hold here, he's going to move into the lead.
The shot here is not to get too much of that 4 because you can clip it off.
And he got a little of the 4, and the 4 kicked the 8 out. So he hung on.
He was determined he was going to get on the other side of the 4, that's for sure.
Earl's plus 5, but here's Larry Miller. A strike here could make a very interesting match.
And this is the lane he's been hitting.
His last 3 balls have been X's on this lane. Make that what you call a solid 10 pin. So that puts the pressure on Larry going into the 10th frame.
And he's shooting cross lane for the conversion.
Oh, boy, how did that ball hang on?
That is what is known as fingers. That's pure fingers. You know, you got to give Larry credit. He got a telephone call and just shot over here and took a couple practice balls, and he was ready to go.
He looks ready. Well, let's see. Here's frame 10. He's minus 5 pins.
And the adjustment. Mark it. Hold on here.
Oh.
I guarantee if that would have been your leg, it would have been broke. He had everything over there. That was a super dynamite ball, and above all, he made the good adjustment.
Well, like you say, Eddie, all the pins were on the deck. And that's what you need to do. Well, that's going to put the pressure on Earl to mark. So you never know. Roger Crawford, last week's champion, was our top qualifier this week. So he'll be facing the winner of this match. And as you know, Roger rolled 11 strikes last week. Not too bad for an 18-year-old Marine.
Yeah, he got out of the gate quick. And I kind of just think he just was throwing that down there as a fill ball.
So he finishes with a 193. Larry Miller, a 193. So Earl, he'll need a mark. He will need a mark.
I'm surprised he didn't reach over and rack the pins on lane 7.
I thought he was going to.
And that's a study of concentration right there. You can look at the eyes.
I don't think it matters. Lane 7 doesn't exist. And he almost was looking at trouble. Hit a little high. He needs to pick up these 2 pins plus a few.
And it's not the easiest shot in the world to make under pressure. I hate this spare with a passion.
Oh boy. It looked like he was in trouble, and a few reactions from the crowd going, uh-oh, but it come back.
And he reached across and racked that 7.
He needs a 3 count. It looks like match 1 is history.
You know, I think all bowlers have the same kind of goofy idiosyncrasies that they don't like to see that empty lane over there.
And there's the ball he's been searching for all day. And Earl Weatherford, our scratch bowler, finishes with a 2-0-0. So Earl Weatherford and Roger Crawford, 2 scratch bowlers who average 200 plus, will be meeting for the championship of week 5. And Eddie and I will be back with that match right after this.